Welcome to Eye on America. I'm Michelle Miller. Today we meet people solving issues they face and those celebrating trailblazers that paved the way. In Colorado, we examine the growing push from farmers to be able to fix their own equipment. And in New York, we meet an accomplished dancer spotlighting the Black pioneers who elevated tap to an art form. But first, we turn our attention to surprise medical bills that could happen to anyone. A recent report found more than 50% of ambulance rides by insured patients result in unforeseen bills. Anna Werner finds out why so many Americans are still getting unexpected charges despite efforts to protect consumers.
David Fang and Christy Shum's one-year-old son Theo is healthy now, but it's been a long journey. He was born 5 weeks premature and a week later began having breathing difficulties.
He was breathing, but very heavily, so he wasn't getting all the oxygen he needed.
I mean, it was a very scary time.
Doctors told the couple Theo would need to be transferred by ambulance to a children's hospital with a special team and life support.
Just watching your baby going into an ambulance in an incubator, it's just something that I never imagined I would have to go through.
And I'm guessing that at no point during that process did the cost of the ride cross your mind?
No, never.
Yet a few weeks later, with Theo still hospitalized with what specialists determined were 2 holes in his heart, the couple got a bill for that ambulance transfer, over $7,000, of which Christie's insurance company United Healthcare had paid about $1,000, leaving them owing the rest, over $6,000, because UHC said the service was an out-of-network provider or facility.
It's totally shocking when you see the bill, and to me, it's really unfair.
Many surprise medical bills like the one they received were eliminated by the No Surprises Act, legislation passed by Congress in 2020 that protects consumers against most surprise bills for emergency services, including life-saving helicopter flights. But what it didn't get rid of were surprise bills from regular ground ambulances. Patricia Kelmar is with the U.S. Public Interest Research Group, or PIRG.
Did Congress dodge this?
They dodged it, yes. Congress decided to acknowledge the problem by creating a federal committee to look at the problem more deeply.
Kelmar is on that committee.
Right? There are fixed costs when it comes to ambulance treatment. We should set a price that is tied to costs, and that will help make our insurance companies pay those costs that a true price, and it will protect people from these really high out-of-network bills.
But there's no firm timeline for developing a new system, leaving families like David and Christy struggling with bills. Christy appealed their $6,000 ambulance bill, but got this letter saying payment for this service is denied from United Healthcare. In fact, UHC had taken back the $1,000 it did pay, saying David's insurance company, Blue Cross Blue Shield of California, actually was the one that should have paid all the expenses for the baby's first month. The result? Over a year later, the ambulance bill, over $7,000 in total, remained unpaid, despite hours spent on the phone with both companies trying to get answers.
It's frustrating. I mean, it's the fact that it's taking so much of our time and it's still not resolved and we still don't know anything.
So what happened? The company that provided the ambulance told us the bill had been submitted several times, but it had gotten stuck in the system. Blue Cross Blue Shield of California told us it couldn't answer questions about issues with the couple's bill due to federal privacy laws. United Healthcare, Christie's insurer, told us primary coverage for Theo was under his father's insurer, not UHC. But they have now contacted both the ambulance company and Blue Cross Blue Shield of California to help get this bill resolved.
Yeah.
Fortunately, David and Christy say, the stress from the bills couldn't put a damper on a magical moment, the day Theo finally came home from the hospital after 2.5 months.
Big relief?
Huge. Yeah, huge relief. It was, best day of our lives,
Humans aren't the only ones subject to high health care bills. Trips to the vet can be stressful for pets and their owners. CBS Bay Area's Ann Makovic speaks with the vets and volunteers behind a program giving free pet care to those in need.
Okay, done. We're done.
It is rarely a fun visit, but for people who love their pets, we know a trip to the vet is integral in helping our best friends live long, healthy lives.
So she should be good to go for the whole year.
But the stress a pet goes through at the vet is nothing compared to some of the bills those trips can produce. And for some pet owners, the cost is just too much.
She needed her shots, and I wanted to try something new for her.
Urania is one of dozens of people taking advantage of the L-Vet project swing through the Bay Area, offering free vet care, vaccinations, food, and supplies to the pets of the unhoused and street pets in vulnerable communities with the help of local vets.
So I saw they called for volunteers, and they needed help from, folks who are licensed in the state, and so I volunteered.
A huge help, especially with a national shortage of veterinarians and an economic climate that can put health care out of reach. Max is glad to bring it right to those who need it. He's a college student from New York, and driving this mobile clinic is his summer job.
These animals, they just bring light to a lot of people's lives, and I'm happy that I can help other people and I can help these animals who are in these circumstances, because nobody deserves to go without vet care. No animal does.
For Liz, it reminds her of a quote she's heard.
Giving is living, and I believe it. That is, I always feel great after I volunteer.
These pets are feeling great after it's all over and they get their treat at the end, and their guardians have one more stressor off their plate.
The doctors are caring. They work really well with the dogs, and they're really lovely.
Coming up, the growing fight for farmers' self-reliance. This is Eye on America. Welcome back. Farmers rely on an array of advanced tools and machinery to tend to their crops. But there's growing frustration when it comes to who's authorized to fix their equipment when it breaks down. Barry Peterson looks into the ongoing fight for the right to repair.
On a hot eastern Colorado day, the Wood family farms the land that 3 generations ago they used horses to plow. High-tech wizardry means the planter puts every seed at the perfect depth and never plants the same row twice. But if the software glitches and the equipment shuts down, only a dealer's repairman has the codes to diagnose the problem. Without access giving them a chance to fix it themselves, a farmer can wait days, even weeks, for a service call, says farmer Danny Wood.
When you're planting, when you're harvesting, you're driving a tractor like this and it stops, and it takes you 3 days, 5 days, 10 days to get service. What does that mean to a farmer?
Well, that means you could lose your whole crop, because you can, like today, there's some clouds building up. It could turn into a severe storm. It could come in and wipe out your whole crop, hail it off, and then you have no income for the year from that crop.
Danny Wood was in 4th grade when he started helping his dad farm this land. He trained as a mechanic, then took over the farm, then took on a cause called Farmers' Right to Repair and testified for a law to give farmers the right to fix their own equipment. That's him with his tractor as a backdrop, as Colorado Governor Jared Polis signed America's first Farmers' Right to Repair law. So manufacturers must sell software to farmers or independent repair shops so they can access diagnostic codes.
Farmers around the country are very supportive of this idea of the farmer's right to repair. Tell me why it has such resonance with farmers.
Because we are independent. We like to be able to do our things on our time, our schedule, and we like to be able to make our things run without being reliant on somebody else to do that. Farmers are not people that like to rely on others.
We asked John Deere, America's foremost farm equipment manufacturer, some of whose Colorado dealers opposed the right to repair law, for an interview. They declined and instead sent an email saying John Deere supports the customer's decision to repair their own products, utilize an independent repair service, or have repairs completed by an authorized dealer. John Deere additionally provides manuals, parts, and diagnostic tools to facilitate maintenance and repairs. It's not a new issue. Almost 100 years ago, J.D. Forney developed an early form of right to repair, a portable welder so farmers could fix their own plows and early tractors, like the tractors featured at Denver's Forney Museum of Transportation, where we met State Representative Brianna Titone.
So really, when you look back at history and what farmers worked with in tractors, they pretty much always were fending for themselves.
Absolutely.
She represents a mostly suburban Denver district and got a right to repair bill passed for wheelchairs, then for farm equipment, all part of what she sees as a much bigger issue.
It comes down to a lot of the environmental issues around the consumer products that are just thrown away, the planned obsolescence of these electronic equipment that goes into the trash heap.
Her idea is really going back to the future, when TVs to toasters were repaired, not thrown away. Now, right to repair laws are in effect for products from tractors to appliances to digital devices in 4 states. And debate is underway in 24 more states, pushed in a campaign by the U.S. Public Interest Research Group led by Nathan Proctor.
We estimated in a report that we did called Repair Saves Families Big, that if consumers would repair instead of replace their electronics, they could save $382 on average per household, which equals about $50 billion per year when averaged across all the households in America. So this is big money.
It's not just saving money, but saving our planet, because the world's hunger for things like cell phones and electric car batteries means massive mining and production of rare minerals. In places like China's Inner Mongolia, that production has created whole lakes of toxic waste. To help, we can fix or update our cell phones instead of replacing them with the latest new model.
Because manufacturing cell phones takes so much energy and so many materials, if Americans use their cell phones for 1 year longer on average, it have the same benefits for the climate as taking 636,000 cars off the road, which is about the number of registered vehicles in the state of New Mexico.
So really, if I want to do something to help the environment, it's as easy as waiting a year to trade in my cell phone.
Yeah.
Danny Wood is helping the environment by keeping his older equipment running.
A farmer who knows how to fix his own equipment is
independent.
What does that mean?
That means that I don't have to rely on somebody else. I can make my own stuff run.
And you save how much a year?
Oh, I'm sure 40, 50,000.
The return of what was once every farmer's way to save money on repairs. Do it yourself.
Ahead, how one legendary dancer is working to preserve tap's uniquely American history. That story is next. We close our show with a little dance. Ayodele Cassell is an award-winning tap dancer and choreographer whose impact extends far beyond the stage. I spoke with Cassell about her work honoring the groundbreaking Black dancers whose footsteps and taps she follows. No matter her routine, choreographer Ayodele Cassell is forever in the moment.
I was so struck with this art form, how you could communicate a feeling and communicate your soul through, through rhythm. You know what I mean? Like, it's instant, and that it derives not from something that people are teaching you, but just really something that you want to say within yourself.
It all began nearly 30 years ago while in college at New York University.
They offered us tap or Tai Chi, and I said, I'm taking a tap class. I was so thrilled. I was finally living my Hollywood dream.
A dream awakened by Savion Glover's off-Broadway hit. Bring in the noise, bring in the funk.
When I saw Noise Funk at the Public, that's when I saw what was possible.
Jazz, that's it. Even more possible after meeting the legendary Gregory Hines.
Tap dancing is a male-dominated art form. It's very hard, and Ayodele just burst through.
He was everything to me, and to many of us as young tap dancers and to the tap community. He really helped the form shine.
And in 1985's White Nights, elevated the genre, giving a side-by-side comparison to classic dance with ballet's preeminent performer, Mikhail Baryshnikov.
Starting to have done a lot of research in African-American performers and seen this whole history, I wanted to embrace it.
As documentarian Hank Smith explains, tap is evolutionary. Born during slavery, when people turned their feet into percussive drumming instruments that were stripped away, it became both language and culture. Ireland's traditional tap dancing also gave influence. After the Civil War, minstrel shows in blackface tried to degrade that tradition. The Jazz era and Harlem Renaissance reclaimed tap. But by the 1930s, it crossed over into the mainstream.
The problem was white artists had the opportunity in Hollywood to have great careers doing tap dancing, and often they learned from black folks, but they got to do the big musicals, and black artists couldn't really get to do that.
Nor could they get equal billing with marquee stars like Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, or Gene Kelly. Still, in those rare and often uneven integrated pairings, as with tap master Bill Bojangles Robinson and a curly-topped Shirley Temple, it was magic. So were the moves of the dynamic Nicholas brothers.
Fred Astaire said that their dance routine in the film Stormy Weather is the greatest dance routine ever captured on film. Period.
Exclamation point.
Kathy and Nicole Nicholas are Fayard's granddaughters and Harold's grandnieces.
And for anyone who's ever seen it, it's hard to not agree. And to know that that number was captured in one take without them ever rehearsing it, they could just visualize it. They could see themselves coming down the stairs.
But they never had any formal training.
They have never had a dance lesson in their lives.
But the Nicholas sisters, performers in their own right, are teaching a new generation all their moves.
These little girls are not afraid to shout out, "I am a girl and you need to move out of my way."
We've got to show them what is possible. We have to be out here to give them something to aspire to that is in the now, that is current, that is accessible, and to be a model. And for us specifically, to tell the story of the past and the shoulders that we stand on, but you can take that legacy and evolve it.
They stand on the shoulders of women who went unrecognized for decades.
Our contributions, our presence, our histories and stories have really been purposely, erased or forgotten or omitted. This first one just says, "Love, Jenny Lagan."
Like pioneer Jenny Lagan, the first black woman soloist signed by a major Hollywood studio. Or Alice Whitman, who along with her three sisters ran their own tap touring company for over 40 years.
How important is that in the work that you are setting forth? That memory, or that muscle memory of who came before?
For me, it's everything. I think my contribution is to fill in those gaps and essentially write women back into history. I felt it. The moment that I knew that this existed, I have been compelled to just say their names. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew that I had to do it.
And she does it every chance she gets.
Jenny Lagan, Lois Bright, Louise Madison, Juanita Pitts, Edwina Salt, Evelyn Jewel, Pepper Welch.
Most recently, while accepting the Doris Duke Foundation Artist Award, along with the $550,000 grant that comes with it.
So your garage is your dance studio?
Yes. This is where I do all of my great tap thinking. I must have called this into being because this project with these women that I always speak about take the time to develop and write.
This gives you permission.
Yeah.
Marie Knighton is with the Duke Foundation.
Part of the intention here with this award is to let them get off the roller coaster for a minute and without feeling like they're gonna lose something.
Fresh off the success of Funny Girl, Cassell's been winning. Tapped by producers to choreograph the show's tap routines.
So this is the stage that every artist gets to see, hopes to get to see in their lifetime.
This,
Yes.
no. The perfect bridge for a woman connecting the art form's past and future with the enthusiasm of her presence.
I want people to feel the joy that I feel, and so it's like I think I lead with that. I'm happy that people respond to that.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news 24/7, stream us right here on CBS News. I'm Michelle Miller. Thank you for watching Eye on America.